Welcome back to Ideas at Work and Beyond. That was a very fascinating first segment. I know I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she will be at the Relay for Life in Ridgefield running. So I really support that, and I think it's great. I'd like to very much welcome Ken McCardle.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a joy to have you. I know we've had your books on here once before. I think we had your book on, and you were actually calling in from Michigan.
That's correct. Correct.
But now we have you in living color.
Live in person.
Okay, now other times when we would want to interview you, we'd literally have to be on a horseback out in Montana. Isn't that true?
A little bit. Cowboy boots and a hat on, but...
And you'd have to be out in Montana.
Riding through the hills.
Okay, so I mean, it's almost as if you've lived 3 or 4 or 5 different lives in your lifetime. You've been a ranger or a cowboy outside of Missoula, Montana.
Yep.
You produced, written, and published children's Bible books.
Exciting. That is the most exciting part of my adventure so far.
You're 32 years old and you look 18.
That's innocent living.
You're not married. I don't know. Is there any way you could give out your cell phone number if there's any young ladies that would like to date you? They could call in.
You can always find me at BibleRhymes.com.
BibleRhymes.com. Okay, I'm jumping ahead. Let's slow this back down a little bit. You have produced some books. It started with Creation.
Yeah, Bible Rhymes Creation was the first book in the children's book series we're working on. Got about 10 to 15 planned. I mean, there's so many good stories in the Bible.
Okay.
The next, we've got now Bible Rhymes Creation is out, and Bible Rhymes Noah and the Ark. Later this year, we're planning on releasing the Bible Rhymes Christmas Story and David and Goliath.
Wow.
And we've got, as far as from a survey so far, the next book would be Joseph and the Coat of Many Colors.
Okay.
And then it goes on Samson and Delilah, and we've got Tower of Babel, a whole lot of them planned. A lot.
Interesting. Now, what brought you? I mean, here you were raised in a Christian home. You went to Christian schools as you were growing up.
Yep.
But you mentioned that you went through sort of a wild child period. Do you want to get into that on television?
A wild child period.
Yeah.
I was a misunderstood youth. That's about the worst I could say.
Okay.
I like to smile and have a good time when I scraped my knees a few times growing up.
Okay.
And the thing that I always had to lean back on, I can wander away from what my parents, all the good lessons they taught me.
Okay.
But the centerpiece to always turn back to was the truths coming out of the Bible.
Okay.
And so that's kept my feet grounded, and no matter what what adventures could possibly come my way, I always had that one thing to keep my feet on the ground.
Well, the Bible talks about you can build your house on the sand, and if you do that when the trials come, not if but when,
watch it crumble.
And they crumble. But if you build your life on the rock, even when trials and struggles and temptations come,
you have that strong foundation to keep you where you.
So that was your story. You had a strong foundation.
But I would have to, give congratulations or some award to my parents for raising all their children. They've got 5 children, and they've raised them all with a whole bunch of good morals across the whole family.
Okay. And your brother, who, by the way, it was a good friend of Ivan. This is Ivan's show. They went to college together or spent some time together, and that's a connection.
That's correct. I've known Ivan for about 14 years now, and him and my brother are very, very close compadres.
Okay. And Steve McCardle was also the editor and typesetting, and he's involved in this project as well.
He's the guy that puts the commas where they're supposed to be and all that good stuff.
So you're growing up in a Christian home. You go to a Christian college, have your little rebellious time, go off to Montana, be a cowboy for a while. How do you end up deciding that what you really need to do is produce Christian children's books?
It didn't really come from my own.
Just tell it like it is, even if it sounds mysterious and just
mysterious.
Tell us the story. Tell us what happened.
The crazy author that talks to the Lord. I was reading the Bible one day to get myself out of a grumpy mood, and something was going through my head. And I've done a lot of poetry, and when I was in Montana, I started getting into poetry. And I guess I dabbled a little bit in the Bible variety just to see if I could make something fun of it. But the stories they just weren't very good, and no one would have bought any of the books.
So you started scribbling,
about a year later, after my first scribbles, then I was reading the Bible again one day, and something strong came into my head and said, turn these stories into something that the children are going to be able to sink their teeth into, comprehend, smile, and then as they grow up, kind of like me, always having my Bible to turn back to, it gets something or helps be a part of. Their parents are the ones that have to get them the books or help lead them in that direction, but just the Bible Rhymes series should be a tool that parents can use and that the kids will hopefully fall back on and remember fondly throughout their lives.
What do you say to parents that say, well, I'm not going to force my religion on my kids. I'm going to just raise them without any real, religious background. And when they get old enough, they can decide for themselves.
You're gonna lose out. There's too much competition for the children starting at a very young age. I mean, the type of things that go on MTV and even on regular network television nowadays, the type of programs on there, I'd be hard pressed to let any of when and if I have kids, they'll probably be locked in the bedroom for 35 years or so, and then maybe they'll get a TV. But there's so many bad influences out there. The parents need to do something to guide their children in the right direction before it's too late.
Yeah, I think so, Dad. I always get a sort of a sinking feeling when I hear. I mean, at one level, I guess in this sort of pluralistic world and modern, it seems sort of sophisticated to say I'm not going to, instill my child with religious values. I'm going to let them decide for themselves.
You can look around. I mean, it should be representative with the amount of drugs that they're forcing on children nowadays, just to alleviate any little problems the kids have if the kids are acting out. Give them a drug instead of actually teaching the child how to grow up and be raised properly. So there's so many things that people are too busy with their lives to spend the time to open up their kids' minds to what's important in the world. That I really think parents need to, across the board, from teenagers to little kids. So many people that you talk to, they're missing a direction in their life, and they need something. They need this type of thing brought into
I'm
them.
going on a kind of like a men's retreat down in Washington, D.C. this weekend, and one of the speakers is going to be Rick Warren, and he wrote the book The Purpose-Driven Life. I mean, talk about publishing books. I mean, how many millions and millions and millions of copies of The Purpose-Driven Life have come out?
Well, there's people that are hungry for it. A lot of, in different ways, from church to church that I've gone to with these books, you hear the pastors talk about there's a decline in the congregations.
Really?
For whatever, in a whole lot of churches it's like that. And I don't know if it's some of the big pastors that may have got caught doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, or I think that had a big effect on churches. But the people, even if they're not going to their church, they're hungry. People are hungry for some kind of spiritual truths. I mean, I came out from writing, having no experience doing any writing. Now I put blogs on MySpace.
What's your website again, by the way?
BibleRhymes.com, and I have to mention that about 12 more times.
Okay, Bible Rhymes, spelled BIBLE.
RHYMES.com.
Okay.
And through BibleRhymes.com, you can come to my MySpace blog. And that's where I put out a lot of, I just wanted to make people smile at first, and then let them know that these books, it was a little promotional tool to let them know the books were out there. And then I realized from all the notes I was getting from people from across the world, whether they're asking for prayers or asking for advice on this or that, or just wanting to hear something positive, and they enjoy it, and they keep coming back to hear more and more. They like hearing positive things. They want that in their life. They just need to find more places to get it.
So there's an interesting, there's a thirst out there. The phone number is 203-792-4101. 792-4101. If you'd like to join the conversation, please call in. We'd love to get your questions. For our visiting author, Ken McCardle from BibleRhymes.com, he has two books. One is Noah and the Ark, and then the other book is Creation. That was your first book. This is your second book.
Correct.
And how many, you have plans for 12 more?
It it could be a lot more than that. My guess is 10 to 15, and there's a whole lot of directions to go. You know.
And how long have you been doing this?
This book, Creation, Bible Rhymes Creation, was released last April.
Okay.
So, and April is Poetry Month, so it's a wonderful time for these books.
Okay, now, tomorrow you're going to be in Livingston, New Jersey.
I'll be going to a Christian school out there. I believe it's, hopefully I'll get this correct, I believe it's the Little Angels Christian Montessori out in Livingston, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I'll be there tomorrow morning reading both of these books to the children, and hopefully.
And what's the type of response you get when you go to do these book readings?
I'll tell you what, it's something I never expected when I started writing these books. I didn't expect to be doing the MySpace blogs. I didn't expect to be traveling to different schools and reading to the children.
Speaking of traveling, where did you start your day today?
I was in Detroit this morning.
You were in Detroit, Michigan this morning. It's now 10 minutes to 10 in Danbury, Connecticut. You drove straight through.
Straight through. Well, I had to come and see your guys' smiling faces. And if I had my puppy dogs at home, they needed a little training with the new doggy door, so it kept me at home a little longer than I had expected. So we had to make the trip today, and then tomorrow's New Jersey, and then back for a pit stop in Detroit, and then we've got book signings or book readings down in North Carolina and Florida coming up.
Okay.
And there's all in the meanwhile. I plan on branching out across the country. I've got invitations to everywhere from Grand Forks, North Dakota. I know one of my readers will appreciate that. Everywhere from there down to Kansas, to Texas, invitations to go all over. But
so you go to these schools, churches, and you do a book reading. It's book reading with Ken. And all the kids get down on the carpet, and then you open it up and you start reading about Noah and what he went through to get the animals on the ark, and you read it, and the kids are entranced.
Get a little PowerPoint presentation up on the wall behind me so all the kids can see the pictures, and the only disturbance they ever cause is when they enjoy the pictures so much that they have to point out and cheer or smile, whatever. That's a welcomed interruption. But each one, I guess I need to broaden the time I spend at these schools, because the children ask, their questions are nonstop. Hands raised, hands raised, hands raised, and finally the teacher, the principal, will pull me out. And typically after I read to the whole group, I'll go around to different classrooms and we'll do the same question and answer thing, and I have to get yanked out of each classroom. The kids are wonderful, and they give me an enjoyable time. Now I've learned a lesson. Tomorrow in New Jersey, I'll be going casual.
Casual.
In my sport coat last time, it was at a school of 200 Catholic kids, and I thought I was going to, my clothes were getting pulled all off. And,
well, you're sort of like their rock star, really. You know, I mean, someone who wrote these books, they get to meet them.
Well, I think I got lucky being able to do this at a young age.
Yeah.
Comparatively speaking, they look at me, the kids, I don't know what it is, more like a big brother than an author. They'd rather play with me or jump on me, but they enjoy the books while they're doing it.
Okay, so you go, you read the books, and then do the parents want to buy these books? Can they order them online? I mean, I guess we were talking a little about, I mean, you're doing this to make a living, so you're actually selling books, but it seems like there's a higher calling.
Well, I'm doing this to broaden the relationship children have with the Bible. Now, if I'm lucky enough to make a living out of that, then I'm a very fortunate guy, because this is a fun career to be having.
Yeah. Does it beat cowboy work?
It's it's more social. I meet a lot more
cowboy,
people.
You're kind of out with your horse and a lot of cows. There's
not as much activity as what I'm used to growing up in the Detroit area. Stevensville, Montana, God bless, I love it, but the excitement is a little more toned down.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was definitely, these books are a definite big change in the type of, I've gone from jet ski tour guide to the Montana to home remodeling and the books, and I think the books are where I'll stick for a little while.
Okay. So you publish these books. You've got your brother that does the artwork.
No.
Who did the artwork, by the way? Yeah, I'm sorry.
The artwork is done by a girl. Her name is Antonella Kirko.
Right.
I don't know how well I guess we're not zooming in or anything, but a nice young lady from the town I live in. She agreed. I had seen some of her artwork about a month prior to when I started tooling around with these the original poems, and then once I actually decided I was going to make a book out of it, I asked her if she was interested, and she jumped on the project.
Wow. Well, it's very colorful, very good. I can see why these things would be good sellers. Now, what are some roadblocks you found in the children's book publishing business?
Well, quality is something I've got. I still have from when I was a little kid. I'm the youngest of 5 children.
Right.
And
you come from a rather prominent family in Michigan. Your family's been involved in some.
Growing up, my family's doing pretty. They're pretty comfortable right now. Growing up, it wasn't. Things were tight back in the day. Everything got risked for when my father started his business.
Okay.
He took a gamble: college education for the children or business, and business won out. And thank heavens it worked out for him. So I was able to get my college education as well. But I'll tell you, just being able to have this opportunity through my family, I guess I'll be thankful for my father and my mother for all their years of hard work, to be able to put it to the point that that I'm able to get into something like this and have a little bit of support and I mean, my mother, the emails I get from her nowadays, she just loves seeing that her son has blossomed and is doing his part for the Lord.
So she likes that. My son is an author. He's an author of Christians' children's books.
She finally gets to brag about her son and instead of try to push him under the table first.
Okay. Now, are there any large conventions like Christian education conventions, Christian booksellers convention? I would imagine it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
There's the big International Christian Retail Show goes on in July in Orlando this year.
Okay.
And I'll be down there.
With these books?
With these books.
Okay.
And hopefully I think the Christmas story should be published. It won't be released to the public yet, but we'll take that down there for our display.
Okay.
And then we've got another one. I guess the next big show is next March. For as far as the Christian organizations. Okay. But we'll be hitting a show next.
Now, is there a hope that you'll get picked up by some Christian publishers, or do you want to stay independent and you just want to get shelf space on Walmart and things like that?
We're going to be going, keeping it. I mean, if a wonderful deal comes in, you never know. But the intention is to keep it with us doing the publishing, and that keeps the quality that I'm looking for. And you were talking about what type of problems I've had.
Well, you're on the Walmart website, right?
We're on, I don't know if where we're allowed to mention, but you can check out Walmart.com or Target.com, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million. There's a lot of places. If you just Google Bible rhymes, you can find a whole lot of places to come across the books. Huh. But as I was saying,
you were saying, yeah, what are some of the problems you've come up against?
Well, with our 5 kids in the family, I got hand-me-downs for everything.
You're the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 5.
Okay.
And whether it was my corduroy jeans I was wearing or the knee-high socks they had back in the, everything and even the books were hand-me-downs. Okay. And I still have on my bookshelf nowadays The Little Engine That Could and Katie No Pockets.
Okay.
And these books are 30 years old and still in good condition.
Okay.
And so that's the big thing when I was producing these books. For me, I want it still in 30 years after you bought it for your children or whatever. When they're growing up, I want them to be able to pass it to their kids.
Sure.
So that's the toughest thing. The toughest thing for publishing so far was to be able to get the quality book that I'm going to be happy to give to a customer.
See, I look at this book, and to me, it's very high quality. It's very colorful. The paper's good. You said something about the staples or something like that, but
actually, yeah, with knowing the art, for anyone that has purchased it, I haven't gotten a complaint from anybody.
Yeah,
I've showed people the issue that I have with it, and most people really doesn't make a difference to them.
Yeah,
me, I'm most likely because the way my father raised me, quality was always a high concern with his businesses, and I mean, just quality products. You want to be able to, if you're going to buy something, it's your hard-earned money. I expect to give you something you're going to be happy with, and not something you're going to go home and complain about.
Huh. That's great. Well, what are some of the greatest joys that you've had working with this? Is it the sparkle in a child's eye when he reads the book? Is it a sense that you have some direction and you're moving ahead with your life with this, and it's your own baby, it's your own production?
Well, it's I guess a combination of those. You nailed it, Marty.
Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It's just, having the project, I mean, it's fun to. I enjoy, like, when I went out to Montana and set up the ranch, and then with these books, developing a project and then taking it from an idea and then going through all the steps. I had to learn a lot to be able to get the books to the condition they're in and have them showing up looking the way they are. Had to learn a lot, and it's fun to be able to. I feel blessed that I have that opportunity and the skill set, I guess, to be able to learn these things.
So where do you take this? Are there DVDs in your future? Is there a television series?
Oh, I've got.
Is this going to be? What are some of the movies like that? That one lady that wrote that movie that's, she wrote a book with the warlocks and everything like that.
I think the first.
She did that in a cafe in London. She just sat there and wrote the book, and then it's turned into this huge industry.
If you come up with the great characters and with the artwork, you can develop with these stories are already there. The Noah's there, whatever. When I first saw Our Christmas Story, that book, when that was being put together, the minute I saw the first paintings, I said that I told my artist, Antonella Chirico, again, we'll give her a little respect. When I first saw her Christmas Story book, the picture she developed for it, I told her it was gonna one day that would be a movie.
Wow.
So we'll expand different rights. I mean, I can see these action figures that kids can play with, the Noah and the Ark, and again, my mind can go crazy with ideas. So we'll see. The most important thing right now is keep working on the books to keep the children, give them something to smile about, and again, give them something to lean back while they're growing up, and remember the Bible as a good instrument in their lives.
All right. Bible Rhymes, BibleRhymes.com. The author, Ken McCardle, has joined us this evening. The two books he has out right now are Noah and the Ark, and his first one, Creation. And if you have kids at home, if you have nieces, nephews, grandchildren, or something like that, this is just a neat book. It's incredibly colorful. It makes the Bible come alive, and it's certainly worth your while to look into. I think it's a fascinating story. From a cowboy in Montana to a children's book publisher, all coming out of Eminem's neighborhood in Detroit. Maybe not the same neighborhood.
A couple miles away. Miles.
Almost 9 miles away. All right, Ken, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you getting up in Detroit and making it all the way to Danbury.
Well, hopefully next time we'll have a couple more trips out in New York. I got to visit a school next year. So as our next books are coming out, if you guys will have me back, I'd be happy to come share them with you.
We'd love to have you back. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for joining us at Ideas at Work and Beyond. Join us next week, same time, 9 to 10 p.m. on Thursday night. We have a very exciting show coming up. There's some local elections. I know there's a contested election in Ridgefield. We hope to have the candidates on for that, as well as possibly Rudy Marconi is going to come in and talk about this budget season with Mac Reed, the editor-at-large of Ridgefield Press. Thanks for joining us.